ears. This might be loud. Ah! Ah! Jesus. What? Okay, cool. This one is not controllable by my touch portal. Let's turn you down just a wee bit. There we go. I wasn't paying attention at all to the Willow's explanation, so I hope it was cool. I'm gonna change the settings a little bit. I'm gonna do the auto time to 300. There we go. Alright, I'll be right with you. Perfect. You heard that the new RTX 4060 is really good for the money, so at some point you can get one and be able to play pretty much any game at 1080p. Really? You want to throw a link in the Discord when you can, and I'll take a look at it? That would be cool, because I'm down for that. I'm assuming the sound is good-ish. Here we go. Let's play whatever terrible game this is. The light at the end of the ocean. Start. The ocean is a lonely place to be. A vast expanse of nothingness, it seems. But peer into the distance and you'll see. Atop an island cliff, a lighthouse gleams. Is this poetry or I'm confused? The island shores, composed of jagged rocks, are treacherous to each small passing boat. The sailors bound for farther, safer docks. Their towers' warning keeps the ships afloat. So on the light, the keeper spends her days in solitary sleep and wakes at night to shine a beam through ocean fog and haze, her solemn duty to the sacred light. And though our stalwart keeper does her best this morn, a grave mistake has brought a guest. Oh God. It's King's Quest 6, but, you know, done on itch.io. Two women stand on the rocky shore of an island in a light film of rain. The lighthouse keeper, shown here, is stock still, her work boots planted firmly on the ground. Her guest, on the other side, did we get a lesbian game? Is perpetually slightly off balance, swaying on the slippery and uneven terrain. In front of them lie several battered planks of wood. Wow, it's beautiful here. You don't think so? Been here a long time. Got used to it. Those bits of wood. Is that what's left of my boat? You want to look at it closer? Let's get real up in its business. It was a wooden boat? Guess so. Was it like a canoe or something? Does it look like a canoe? Oh, wow, that face. Right. I guess you didn't see it. I can imagine canoeing. I think that's something I've done before. On holiday, maybe. Not sure why I would do it alone, though. I hope it comes back to me soon. Oh, good, she's got amnesia. She's a lighthouse keeper, Kitty. She lives on her own out on an island. It is. I guess that's all I wanted to see here. What do you want to do now? What can I do? You said, what, 5 days until your supply guy with the boat arrives? Something like that. Do you have some books I could read? Actually, maybe you're not supposed to read when you have a concussion. Any board games we could play, however? Or can we just, like, make out on the couch? Do you have a couch we can make out on? If we're not making out by the end of this game, I don't even know why we're on itch.io. Later. Got some work to do now. Here, I'll make her a little more or less gravelly, kitty, just for you. What work? Isn't your job being a lighthouse keeper? What work do you have during the day? General maintenance and things. Right. Well, I guess I'll figure something out. This way. They turned back towards the... I forgot about the rain that's been happening this whole time. They turned back towards the weather-beaten lighthouse that looms over them from an outcropping of rock and braced themselves to climb the slick stone steps that lead towards an old oak door. Remember this from the title? The light at the end of the ocean. That wasn't the button I meant to push, but oh well. Bye rabbits. This is a nice, cozy kitchen. I think I might have had an apartment a little like this once. Or maybe I just wanted one. Light is on. Top floor, obviously. Make yourself at home. Oh my god damn! Wow. Could you... Whoa. Do you not want us here? Do we need to leave? Yeah, I guess I will. Not that I know what being at home is like now. Haha. But could you not slam the door? I'm a little shaken up from my concussion. Blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, sleepy time. There's a lot of different flavors here. Is this a real wood-burning stove? I don't think I've ever seen one of these except in movies. I guess it's hard to get electricity running on a rock in the middle of the ocean. These must be some of the supply crates the guy on the boat brings. I'm just going to look through all your stuff, if that's cool with you. I know you said make yourself at home. Most people don't take that literally and look through every single drawer somebody has, but, you know, I'm not gonna tell her how to live her life. Hold on, stay here. What is this? This is save. I have no other options down here, so I guess we're going upstairs. As soon as I pushed the button, I knew that I was going to slam my foot down onto the stairs. I'm so glad it's not as loud for you as it is for me, because it terrifies me every time. This is where I woke up this morning. It's pretty comfortable. Oh, okay, so they have... Wait. How did that happen? Did you bring me up here? I'm not clear. What's this doing here? It looks like a ticket for a bus tour. February 14th. Oh god, a bunch of birds are going to have a revolution. I can't imagine there's any of those around here. Looks like the tour starts at the Europa Hotel in Belfast. The guest peers more closely at the ticket, searching for more information, but the majority of the lettering is illegibly smudged. As she moves to replace the ticket on the nightstand, she feels a sudden jolt of warmth in her fingers where she touched it, and her vision swims into nothingness. Whoa. Two women step into a tour bus, a few minutes apart. Oh god. The wistful wanderer makes herself comfortable in a seat towards the back. Through the window, she sees the ornate facade of a large hotel. Fuck the wheel. This game is amazing. The tender-hearted tourist takes time to examine all her seating options before approaching the woman in the back. I learned on this other tour bus yesterday that the hotel was the most bombed building during the Troubles. So I've heard. Yeah, apparently it was one of those few hotels in the city, so it was where a lot of journalists stayed, and that's why they targeted it, I guess. These do seem like some dick bus seats. My name's Emma. Can I sit here? Sure. I'm Mira. The wanderer shifts even closer to the window as the tourist takes her seat, which is amazingly obtuse considering there's plenty of other seats around us. Are you traveling alone too? Wait, oh. Who was that? Who was talking? Mira? Okay. I guess I am today. I'm staying with relatives, but they sent me on this tour while they're working. The tourist catches a hint of dejection in the wanderer's tone and wonders if they might be able to relate to each other. I was supposed to be traveling with a friend, but then she got sick or something and got an earlier flight. This is 2020 March, by the way. Nice to meet you. It's weird. We spent so much time planning to do all these things together. She really wanted to see the Giant's Causeway. And now she's back home, I guess. But she's barely replied to my messages since she left. And it's really weird being here alone. The Wanderer thinks for a moment before replying. I don't know. There's lots of stuff in Ireland. She went home because she wasn't feeling well? How far away does she live? She's from Oklahoma. It's like a 12-hour flight or something. She must have been really sick. Yeah. Or she didn't want to spend another minute with me, which is a theory I'm kind of leaning towards. The Wanderer chuckles. Well, I only just met you, but you don't seem bad enough to drive someone out of the country to me. Thanks. Oh, she's got a little smile. The bus starts up, and the driver's muffled voice on a speaker announces their departure for the tour's first stop. Carrickfergus Castle. The tourist smiles in anticipation of the journey. So, where are you from? Dublin. You? I can't do an Irish accent. Canada, near Toronto. Dublin was lovely. I really liked how the river ran straight through downtown. My friend and I got fish and chips wrapped in newspaper and sat by the river eating it. And the first night we were here, before everything. Yeah, it's nice. And you said you were visiting relatives? My aunt and uncle. They live in a small town not too far from here. I think it would be nice to live in a place like that, out in the country. The Wanderer stares silently at her companion, as if searching her face for a sign of kindness, perhaps, or of capacity for understanding. Eventually, she finds it. I don't know. Seems a little depressing to me. We went out to a pub, and they knew half the people in there and had to chat with them all. My cousin was worried about how it might be awkward if she ran into one of her students' parents again. Out. Do I have to say out? She's a teacher? Her and my aunt both. They live together and walk to work together every morning, and my uncle works some kind of office job here in the city. What the hell was that? I heard like a honk outside. He drove me in today, and the traffic was awful, and the songs on the radio were repetitive, and I don't know how he deals with that with his routine every day. I know what you mean. I don't want my life to become mundane like that either. I guess that's why I try to travel when I can. You're gonna try and get these people killed too. I mean, listen, we don't see Emma in the future, so Emma might be dead right now. She might be at the bottom of the sea, for all we know. I don't know if any of us can avoid it, though. We have to get a job or else we can't afford anything. And how many jobs are actually interesting? How many people are actually happy to go into work and not just silently resigned to it at best? The Wanderer stops herself from being a goddamn depressing Nancy, suddenly realizing that it may have been too much to say to a stranger. I don't know. I try not to think about it. Yeah, I've tried to. The concern and compassion in the tourist's eyes compel the Wanderer to continue, regardless of decorum. I'm not just on holiday. My parents sent me to stay with my relatives because I'm not doing well. My girlfriend broke up with me, and it's been really hard. I guess they think the country air will be good for me or something. They sent me on the dick bus, which is weird. I thought it's 2023. We should be past this. Oh. I mean, you told me something personal about you and your friend, so it only seems fair to be honest with you, too. After a moment that seems endless to the wanderer, the tourist responds with a sympathetic smile. Thanks. I appreciate it. I hope I don't end up dead at the bottom of the sea in about 48 hours. I hope this trip is as helpful as your parents think it will be. I sure hope you don't end up dying, end up stranded. This tour sounds like it'll be nice at least. I'm looking forward to seeing the Giant's Causeway. The two women relax into their seats as the bus rolls out of the city. Whoa! Deedaloo, 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 deedaloo. Oh. Here you are. Work's done for the day. You want a tour of the island or something? Or you could take a look at how the light works, if that's something you're interested in. She looks at the guest expectantly as the guest... What? Oh my god, this writing. She looks at the guest expectantly as the guest slowly takes in her restored guest surroundings. I feel like I just had a dream or a vision. I don't know, I picked up this bus ticket. You touching my shit! And suddenly my hand felt really hot and... Oh, yeah, that's how it works here. Magic tickets, all that shit. It's like Willy Wonka, except, you know... I didn't have an ending for this. Sorry, I don't know why I zoomed in. You'll get used to it. What? The name of the game is Lighthouse, lady. I don't know what to tell you. This really ain't a normal island. It's hard to explain. Mark, shut up. You've got food. You'll figure it out anyway. There's a process to it. Now, do you want to go see the end of the island? Well, hey, you want to come here and look at these lights? Let's go look at the, well, which one is the one that leads to, smooching? Let's go look at the light. I guess I want to go look at the light. It seems important to you. Alright. You go on ahead. See you upstairs. Bus ticket, huh? That one's new. Usually it's a plane ticket. Crazy, right? The keeper arrives at the top of the wooden ladder to see the guest marveling at the giant lantern that dominates the room. Outside the panes of glass that make up the walls, the sea, now much calmer than it was during the morning's calm, stretches out into the distance. Wow. Yeah. Nice view. You got any friends dead out there? Light, too. It's such an interesting shape. The ridges. The ridges? And things make it easier to see from far away. It's really pleasurable for the boats. Sorry, I had to get that out. I wonder how far. But somehow I didn't see it. At least, I can't imagine I did. Why would I have crashed if I had seen... Are you sure you're the captain? What makes you think you're the captain of your little vessel? You didn't. It wasn't on. Malfunctioning. Oh. Well, then that seems like a you thing.
Right in my ass.
Hi, Brain Buster. Well, that gives me a little more confidence in my booting ability then.
I'm the captain.
It should always be on. That night, it was a terrible mistake. Well, excuse me. Well, if it malfunctioned, that can't be anyone's fault. We're gonna need more time, Pyrie. Sorry, I don't have it on my touch portal. That's bound to happen once in a while. I'm invested now. And I thank you. And I survived, so seems like everything's fine, right? I'm sure I'll recover from the concussion soon. Yeah, you will. I'm actually invested now. Did it become... Have we sat here till nighttime? Oh. The sky outside the lighthouse begins to darken and change color with the first hints of sunset. Because really, to be honest, guys, I had zero plans for this evening. So sometimes when I do that, I'm just like, I guess I'll do a randomizer? So the fact that I'm playing a game that I actually kind of want to continue playing is a miracle to me. So yes, these two might end up dying in a typhoon by the time I'm done with them. That seems to be how Roar streams always end. But god damn it, I want these two ladies to start having a relationship and maybe smooching. It seems a little early for the sun to go down. Not that I really know what time it is, I guess, but I didn't really feel like it was that late. It's always earlier than you expect here. What do you need to do to make sure the light is working? It's malfunctioning! God damn. Open your ears. Keep an eye on the paraffin levels in the reservoir. Checked that earlier. And then I pump the air container regularly to keep the fuel moving and burning. Thank you for letting me know, Brainbuster. How often is regularly? Once an hour or so. You get used to it. You can tell when it's time. Must have been hard to get used to it first. Did you learn from another lighthouse keeper? Something like that. What do you mean? Oh, this lady. It's complicated. Hard to explain. Look, you want to touch some more magic shit? Oh. It's getting dark. Time to get all this stuff working so no one else crashes like you did. Offer to help, of course. Do you need any help with it? No. But thank you for offering. Nope, you're not part of the union. It's going to be a big hassle. If you get hurt, then you can sue us. It's like, my God, it's going to be a big deal. It is a big deal. No problem. I guess since I don't know what to do, I'd probably just get in the way. It's not that. It's just all the things I mentioned earlier. My boss is downstairs. She's in the office. Maybe you could learn another time, if you really want to. Sure. I'm hanging out for a while anyway. Maybe I might as well make myself useful. You don't need to work to be useful. Your eye candy bear just looking at you is useful. Hey. Well, have a good night. You too. The guest glances at the sunset through the glass once more before descending to her bedroom for the night. The sun crashes down into the horizon. Oh my God. Time is a mystery on this island. In the middle of the night, the guest stands in the kitchen with the Nutella just crammed into her mouth, just a spoon deep-throated down. She is starving. Sipping a glass of water as she looks out the window at the dark blue sea. She strains her eyes to catch a glimpse of distant boots each time the rotating beam of light from above sweeps by. Fucking... I need a drink. Oh, you startled me. Aren't you busy with the thing, the light upstairs, the thing you do? Just revealed the reservoir now. It's fine. Did you come for a glass of water too? I'll grab you a... No, it's all right. What? Did you want to play Pong with our bodies? As the two women reach towards the cupboard at the same time, their hands brush against each other for a moment, and the keeper leaps away as if she'd received an electric shock. Are you okay? Jeez. Every time someone leaves the room, I need to know that they're going to be slamming some metal on the way out. The keeper disappears without a word, leaving the guest alone in the darkness. Sorry? That's true, Kitty. You should always respect ladies. All women. All people, but especially ladies. And not especially. You know what I mean. When the guest's anxieties eventually allow her some sleep, it is fitful and haunted by strange dreams. The only detail she remembers upon awakening is the image of two giants locked in mortal combat. while Mart! While balancing on basalt columns rising out from the sea. That, and a glimpse of a man with a scepter and a wide-brimmed hat, giving her a quizzical look and stating, "You shouldn't be here." I'm waiting. I'm waiting for her to come down the stairs. The strange man dissolves as the guest is awoken by footsteps coming from above. Half asleep, she hears the keeper muttering something nonsensical to herself as she passes through on the stairs. Watch the misogyny. Who? Me? Me? You know me. I knew it. I knew it was coming. I'm misogynist in no ways. I love and respect all women. I'd go there and tell that snake-obsessed creep to keep his golden sandal and tell his golden sandal. Too tired to be curious, the guest rolls over and goes back to sleep, awakening again later on to sunlight flooding the room. She stumbles out of bed and looks for the keeper, reasoning that company, however standoffish and strange that company may be, is preferable to solitude in this bizarre new world. Hello? Not here either. Maybe she's outside? What the hell? The guest struggles in vain to open the lighthouse's towering oak door. Why is that so damn loud? Can I turn this down just a tiny bit? There we go. I'm locked in. Why would she... What? Why would a lighthouse need a door that locks from the outside? What the... She begins to search the room for any hope of escape. Well, I'm dead. This would probably be a pretty clever place to hide a key, but I don't see anything. There's nothing in here apart from a bunch of different kinds of tea. Nothing in these crates except the food. Nope. We're dead. We're dead. She's going to sell her organs. Watch your ears. Go upstairs. Okay, that's way quieter. Good. Wish I could just look in the mirror and then find what I'm searching for in my pocket. Is that a reference to something? Why do I remember that? I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that's a reference to one of the other games, which is adorable. If I touch the ticket, will I go back in time again? Nothing under the pillow or anything. This is that bus ticket from yesterday. What was going on then? She didn't drug me or something, did she? She's really dramatic about this. Like, maybe there's a very good reason she locked the door. Maybe she forgot that you're in there and not just assume that she's, and don't just assume that she's, like, locking you in for nefarious reasons. Curiouser and curiouser. Nothing in the pockets of any of the clothes. Nothing behind the books. Well, this looks old. I wonder who these people are. Maybe her grandparents or something? Seems like it was taken at a party. Where are you getting that from? This is a profile shot of two people with nothing in the background. As the guest examines the photograph, she feels a familiar warmth in her hand. The picture has peed, apparently, and loses sight of her surroundings again. Here we go! A distressed debutante stands on her balcony, struggling to light a cigarette with shaking hands. From inside the house, a brooding bachelor calls her name. Probably turn that sound up a tiny bit. Rose? Rose! The bachelor emerges onto the balcony. He stops short of joining the debutante at the railing, instead lingering by the door. This old is, there it is. There it is. Should be able to F5 now. Sorry about that. Okay, you didn't miss anything. These two were arguing. Okay, it's reconnecting again. Hopefully. should be good now. F5. We give it a shot, I guess. I can't promise it'll be back up and running. Alright. Seems to be good. I didn't expect you to change. I just thought... I thought we could be happy. In a way. Happy than some couples I've met. You could be happy with a man who can't love you. Not in a way a husband should. Plenty of women's husbands don't love them. You would at least like me. We'd have each other for companionship. But you could be so much happier than that, Rose. You could find someone who really wants to be with you. Who... The debutante whips around to look the bachelor in the eye for the first time. You think it's any easier for me? You think I'm any different than you? I know you are. You love me, don't you? But you're the only man I've everyone else is... I know it doesn't seem that way now, but if you love me, you can love another man someday. You can be happy, Rose, so much happier with someone else. Besides, I was called up yesterday. Oh. A single tear, liar, escapes the woman's eye in the heavy silence. But you'll fight it, won't you? What's the use? They haven't let us escape. They haven't let any of us escape it so far. But you won't go to war. You can't. No, I have another plan. I've been thinking about it a lot, really. But I'll tell you later. Come back to the party, Rose. It might be the last time we all see each other for a long time. I'm definitely not going to die at war. The woman makes an honest attempt to smile as her friend leads her back into the house. Wheelu. Are you ready to... There you are. What the hell is going on? Sorry. Why did you lock me in the lighthouse today? And what's happening with these weird visions? Are you some sort of GD witch? The guest advances on the keeper, despite her disorientation. No, it's just... Wait, you were locked in? The keeper stands her ground, apparently unconcerned by her guest's aggression. Like some kind of prisoner. That shouldn't have happened. Locking you in doesn't happen till step 4. I am way off track today. Damn right it shouldn't have. No, it wasn't intentional. Things just happen here sometimes. You've probably noticed that already. I've noticed this place is really weird, yeah. There's some weird people around. You must have been really worried when you were locked in. Yeah, I was. Where were you? Just walking around the island, doing lightkeeper stuff, you know. Sorry. You weren't supposed to be locked in. Didn't mean to. I looked through all your shit. Well, thanks, I guess. The keeper lets go of some of the tension in her body, but not without some lingering wariness of her companion. Still haven't had a tour of the island. No. Want to do that, then? You're not even going to explain... Yeah, why do I even try? Of course you're not. This girl. There's a process to how things happen here. First you die, then you become a ghost, then you do ghost shit. It's not that hard. Trying to explain prematurely won't help anyone. It'll all make sense before you leave. The guest shakes her head in resignation. I guess all I can do is take your word for it. Please. Yeah, whatever. You seem genuine enough. I just wish... It doesn't matter. Just give me the tour. Thank you. Go ahead. Meet you there. Meet you where? The hell do you mean, meet you there? Where are you going? The island? Why would he lock her in? What is the point of that? What an awful... The keeper joins her guest outside the lighthouse at the nebulous meeting place, locking the oak door behind her. Sorry, I gotta lock in the other girl. The rain from the previous day has stopped, but the wind has picked up. and the guest rubs her arms to keep warm. You've already seen the North Shore, where you crashed your dumb boat. This way is the south. She leads the guest in the opposite. She leads the guest in the opposite direction, is what she meant, from the stairs they climbed before, down a much shallower slope towards the opposite shore. Not really much to give a tour of, is there? It's a pretty small island. Yeah, well, still pays to know your way around. You ever see that movie Castaway? He went to the top of the island. I didn't even make you climb shit. We got stairs. You must know it pretty well. How long have you been here? I don't know. What? You don't know? That's a joke. It's just been a long time. It's not interesting to talk about. Right. You're definitely a ghost, right? So what do you do when you're not working? Just ghost shit? Huh? Seems like you must have a lot of spare time around here and no one to talk to unless you get a lot of idiots crashing your boat. Ha ha ha. Yeah, he's just super dead in World War One. If the job's done properly, no one ever crashes. Right, sorry. It's just a joke. But you must do something in your spare time, right? Do you like to read? Yeah. Well, what's your favorite book? Bound by Sylvia Day. The Sign of the... Guys, that's really weird. Hold on. Let me bring back the... because I was really planning on doing a rodeo books tonight. This was going to be my book that I was going to read. That is really bizarre. I was supposed to be reading The Sign of Vor by Arthur Conan Doyle. So in case you're wondering where all of the coincidences are in life, they're on Rorstream. The Sign of the Four by Arthur Conan Doyle. Oh, yeah. Sherlock Holmes, right? Yeah. Bullshit, you knew that. No one knows that. That's a classic. Before too long, they arrive at a rocky shore similar to the one on the other side of the island. The only notable difference between them is a very weirdly designed dock. This is a mid-journey dock right here. Between them is that rather than a smattering of pieces of wood on the rocks, this side is a neatly constructed dock stretching out into the water. This side of the island is much safer for boats to dock. So this is where the supply guy will turn up? Maybe. And then, I guess it depends on which side of the island he's coming from. And over there is the archive. The archive? What is this hobbit shit? The guest turns to where the keeper is pointing and sees a small cottage half embedded in the hill so that it's barely visible from the other side. Archive of what? You can see when the archivist gets back. Should be soon. It's getting late, though. Time to turn on the light. Oh, sunset came quickly. Again. Hey, hang on. I thought she said this side was the south. The guest sighs and follows the keeper back up the hill, the disorienting sunset at her back. I bet you the archivist is the he that she was talking about. The keeper gazes out at the ocean from the top of the tower, her face illuminated unevenly by the glow of the lantern. Her eyes remain fixated on the horizon, even as soft footsteps reach the top of the ladder next to her. Whoa! Honey, I'm home. Not your honey. Oh, play along. You're the closest thing I've got. How are things with your guest? Fine. Fine? Really? Oh, this lady. All right, awkward. And she keeps asking questions there aren't any good answers to, of course. Why don't you just explain things to her? That's not the way it's supposed to go. There's a process. Yeah, I know. So what? You think you're gonna get in trouble if you make things a little easier for her? What do you think he'd do to you anyway? Considering what he's done already, don't much feel like finding out. Right. I keep forgetting how much younger you are. You haven't had nearly as much time to get used to the way things are for you and me. Can't imagine that ever happening. Oh, it's not so bad, especially when you have a cool neighbor. And when someone's interesting to talk to comes by every now and then, like this guest of yours. The reason she's here, the only reason for anyone else to be here, makes it pretty hard to relish the opportunity. You need to get way less hung up on the whole life and death thing. You'll go crazy placing so much importance on it here. It's not just death. Didn't you see that bus downstairs? She's going like time traveling. It's time travel's wife and shit. Okay. Maybe it's still too soon for you to relax about this stuff. But still, have you talked to your guest much? A little. I showed her around. I locked her in the house. That was fun. Did you ask her anything else about herself? Her hobbies? Her interests? Well, there's the amnesia problem to contend with. That doesn't mean she's forgotten everything. I bet she could still recall some interesting stories to tell you if you asked. Why not give it a try? She'll be gone in less than a week. So enjoy the time you have. It will only make the end so much harder. All right, I get where you're coming from, but the poor girl must be so bored. So she's just downstairs. I can hear you. Every word. Why don't you send her to visit me tomorrow? She might like exploring the archive. Maybe I'll have some little tasks for her to help out with or something. You're not too busy? I've got all the time in the world. Night, sweethearts. The archivist winks and disappears back into the shadows. She leaves the keeper alone with the light and the ships in the distance, hundreds of them, approaching the island at a slow but unrelenting pace. The guest wakes early the next day. Her dreams, no doubt influenced by the events of the previous morning, centered around being imprisoned in bare, isolated cells. Several variations of the theme haunted her throughout the night, in between periods of waking. The one that struck her the most took place in a bare white room, an incessant beeping the only soundtrack to the futile attempts to escape. Oh? Is that right? Unsurprisingly, her first thoughts upon regaining consciousness are to question the validity of the keeper's claims that she was only locked in by accident. She feels a mounting anxiety as, moments later, the keeper descends the stairs. Even turned down, it's so loud and aggressive. Could you clomp a little less, please? I know that you don't typically have guests, but now you do. Could you just take off your...
I've been to Peppa Pig World. Forgive me.
Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. Oh, you're awake already? Yeah. You want breakfast? Should still be a couple eggs left. I'm not hungry. You sure? You haven't eaten at all in like 3 days. Bye. Oh, almost forgot. You remember the archives? Yeah? The archivist got back late last night. Thought maybe you'd like to visit her, since you don't have much else to do around here. Could you stop? Wait. Yeah. She was gone and she just got back? Doesn't that mean she has a boat? Oh. Yeah. Why? So why do I have to wait for the supply guy in his boat then? Couldn't I leave with her? Oh. Right. Well, her boat breaks down a lot. It probably wouldn't work. Of course. Another reason I can't leave. The keeper hesitates at the top of the stairs for a moment, apparently unsure of what to say, before ultimately settling on a terse 4 words. Go fuck yourself, Shirley. Have a good day. Pretty close. Yeah, you too. I wonder if she's gonna, like, follow her. The guest grips the windowsill and stares out at the empty ocean, hoping to avoid arousing the keeper's suspicions by waiting a few minutes before leaving. Why not just say, ask her when you can? It started. Why not just ask her if we can put the excuse? Probably because it would arouse... She probably wants to, like, follow her, I'm guessing. When she can take the tension no more, she races down the steps of the lighthouse, past the remains of breakfast in the kitchen, and down the hill. She just grabs a couple eggs, just raw dogs, and down the hill towards the mysterious archives. The very, very slow fade in. Hello? Anyone there? No one seems to spend much time actually inside their homes here, which is pretty weird considering how few places there are to go. At least this door wasn't locked. Guess I'll look around. Better than going back up there. I wish I had a walking stick like this. It would make hiking around here a lot easier. Can I just steal it? We're already breaking and entering. A raincoat must be an important thing to have here, judging by the weather when I first arrived. It says Lethe? It says Lethe Island Archives. I don't know how to say it, so I'm going to say it as wrong as possible. It says Lethe Island Archives. Well, at least I have something to call this place. Can't say I've ever heard of it, though. Then again, maybe I have. Amnesia, right? Wow. It's a pretty big book collection. Oh, The Sign of the Four. I think I remember enjoying that book a long time ago. As the guest opens the book, a gust of wind with no discernible source blows through the pages, and she feels her hand growing hot again. I'm going to reuse this as much as the game is. It takes a moment to recognize the woman reading on the garden bench as the distressed debutante. She has more color in her cheeks, and a contented expression that never came close to gracing her features that night on the balcony. Yet just as in that other moment out in her life... Let's try that again. Yet just as in that other moment out of her life, a bachelor soon approaches her, his brooding tendencies more muted, but nonetheless visible in the world-weary way he surveys his surroundings. Good afternoon. Enjoying the party? The debutante looks up from her book, slightly annoyed by the intrusion. I was, yes. So hiding for the rest of the guests and reading the book really is your idea of enjoying a party? In fact, it is if you do... I can't read. I've just stopped being able to read about the hour and 13-minute mark. In fact, it is, if you don't mind. I'll get right back to it. What are you reading? It's going to be Sir Corthano. It's going to be The Sign of the Four again, isn't it? We only have one book in this universe. The bachelor flounces onto the other end of the bench, and the debutante flinches. At this exact moment, nothing, because I've been interrupted. The bachelor opens his mouth to speak, and then closes it again. He knits his brows. I'm sorry. I'm being terribly rude, aren't I? This direct admission of fault catches the debutante off guard. Well, perhaps a little. My apologies. To tell you the truth, I was finding the party dreadfully boring, and I thought you looked like you had the right idea avoiding it. Talking to you struck me as a much more interesting way to pass the time than going back in there. But of course, you have no obligation to speak with me if you're not so inclined. Good day. The bachelor gets to his feet. Wait. You don't have to leave. I was a bit taken back by the boldness of your approach, but I would be happy to have a conversation partner as well. I've just finished a chapter anyway. Oh, you don't mind then? No, please sit. The bachelor smiles and retakes his seat on the bench. I'm Edwin. Edwin Knight. Rose Nardovino. Nardovino? Is that an Italian name? Yes, my grandfather was Italian, but my father has been in England since before I was born. And it's the Sign of the Four. That's what I was reading. Ah, that's one of Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes novels, isn't it? Is he still writing those? I remember hearing about the great detective's celebrated return from the dead when I was a young lad. That is Edwin speaking. My mother quite enjoyed reading those stories in The Strand. Yes, I didn't start reading them till recently, but they're very entertaining. I've heard Doyle might serialize a new novel soon. I guess the early 1800s, Gorp. Well, I hope you enjoy it if he does. I can't say I'm much of a mystery reader, though. What genre do you prefer? I prefer stories that are more stark and realistic, I suppose. Descriptions of the struggles of daily life without things wrapping up nicely at the end. Well, to each his own, but I prefer to read as an escape from the struggles of daily life. Understandable. The real world does look a bit too bleak lately. Indeed. Edwin gazes at the flowers in the garden, deep in thought. All right, here's a question for you. What would your perfect life be like? If there was nothing to hold you back, what would you do? Rose responds to her companion's query with a quizzical expression. I'm sorry? Is that an odd question? No, not at all. I mean, it's much better conversation than I'm used to from the suitors my parents introduced me to. I suppose a beautiful woman like you has many suitors. Unfortunately, yes, but they're all dreadfully dull. If you could forget about them, they would never bother you again, and your parents didn't have any expectations of you. How would you spend your life? I suppose... Rose ponders for a moment. I suppose I'd like to be a lighthouse keeper. Edwin cocks his head to the side, intrigued. A lighthouse keeper? That seems like a lonely existence. Perhaps, but I like the peace and quiet, and I like to help others. Remember that time remember the time the lighthouse wasn't working and I crashed? I wish I could have a useful career of some sort, doing something beneficial. Lighthouse keepers are important. They keep ships from crashing into the rocks. I think that would be perfect for me, a job where I could be helpful, but I would also have a great deal of time alone to read my books and think. Well, when you put it that way, it does sound like a nice life. And what about you, Edwin? What would you do if you were free of the fetters of society? Edwin leans in conspiratorially. Well, first, I'd throw a lot of parties, and I wouldn't invite anyone who's at all boring or irritating. No matter what anyone says about who's important or with whom I'm expected to make connections. It wouldn't matter what race or religion or social class my guests were, as long as they were intelligent, interesting people, and we'd all get together to have a few drinks and talk about our opinions on, well, everything. Literature, philosophy, politics. We might disagree, but we'd all be polite about it and stay friends. I call it Facebook.com. How very idealistic. I might like to attend these parties of yours once in a while when I go on vacation from the lighthouse. You'd be certainly welcome to. Rose and Edwin look into each other's eyes, both of their minds filled with dreams that, for just one moment in the garden, feel like they could be real. But almost simultaneously, the two new friends remember what is possible in their lives and what is not. I should go. My father absolutely detests me slipping away from social gatherings, so... yes, you're right. We should both go. Well, right. Edwin immediately drops back down onto the bench. Oh, wait a few moments. We wouldn't want anyone seeing us together returning to the party without a chaperone, would we? No, we would not. Rose turns to walk away. Rose. It's Rose Nordovino, isn't it? She stops in her tracks. Yes. I will call on you one day, if your father will allow it. You You are unlike any woman I've ever met before, Rose. She smiles, the spring breeze gently blowing through her hot hair. Hot air? Through her hot hair. It's not hot, Roar. She smiles, the spring breeze gently blowing through her hair. And you are unlike any man I've ever met before, Edwin. Deedaloo, deedaloo, deedaloo. Hello there. The first thing the guest sees upon returning to consciousness is the archivist coming down the stairs. Whoa! You okay, honey? The guest doubles over with sudden peals of laughter, prompting the archivist to gingerly approach. Anything I can get for you? Is this personal space all right with you? The 43 inches? Like, I could reach out and just touch your nose. Just be like, boop. Some water, maybe? It's just, I don't know what's funny. It's just, the guest struggles to regain her breath. I don't know why I was so startled. These past few days, everything that's happened to me has been totally insane, and I've just felt somehow detached from it. The first thing that made me jump, that made me react like a normal person, is suddenly seeing a stranger in the doorway. And you're not even much more of a stranger than she is, and I just accepted having her around somehow. Just hit me all at once, I guess. How weird everything is, how weird I am for the way I've been dealing with it all. The archivist pats the guest's shoulder. I don't think your behavior is particularly strange, not when you have a concussion, and do I? Do I have a concussion? Of course you're not going to answer me either. Of course. The guest laughs again, more sardonically this time. The archivist waits for her to finish before affecting a smile. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Coffee? The guest sighs. Fine. Tea would be nice. The guest... Where... What a weird room you've brought us into. The guest follows the archivist upstairs into the bedroom. The archivist busies herself in a small corner kitchenette as the guest sinks into the oversized pink couch.
This lesbian bar doesn't have a fire exit.
I don't think this is a bar, but it is something. Can I explain the Grimace milkshake thing? No. Long story short, marketing. Short story long, no, I can't explain it. Do you want any milk or sugar? A little bit of milk, thanks. The guest's earlier burst of manic energy has left her as suddenly as it arrived, and she finds herself simply staring at the wallpaper, losing herself in its pale patterns. There is no pale patterns on the wall, and there is also no wallpaper. Until the archivist slides a cup and saucer into her hand. Thank you. Feeling better now, honey? A little. Smell of a nice pot of tea always makes me feel better. Did you want to ask me some questions now? I mean, I'm not supposed to answer too many, but I'm less of a stickler for the rules than certain other people. The guest shakes her head. To tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm ready for what I think the answers would be. What are you talking about? I understand. I don't. What? I guess there's one thing I can ask. What's your name? Is that allowed? Your friend calls me Elle. My friend? The lighthouse keeper. She's not my friend. She cares about you, you know.
Shake trend, also known
Good
as
time
the
to take a
Grimace
drink.
Shake incident and Grimace Shake death, refers to a series of parody horror videos that depict people dying or going insane after drinking the McDonald's Grimace milkshake. The meme trend was started by TikToker.
By TikToker. Just TikToker. Thank you, Pyrie. That's good to know. Excuse me. But things are complicated for her. Everything feels pretty complicated for me right now, too. I know. But hey, that's why I'm hoping I can cheer you up a little bit. I'm a lot less of a downer than her, promise. What do you feel like doing once we're done with our tea? You could look through my little book for a... You could look through my little library for a good book to read. Hey, can I use your boat? Ooh, or you could help me with some filing downstairs. Maybe you'll catch a sneak peek of some scandalous secrets. What do you say? Doesn't matter, I guess. Let's go look for scandalous secrets. I'd be happy to help you out in the archives for a while. Great. Well, we'll sit and enjoy our tea, and then we'll get right to it. Once the tea is cooled down enough for the guest to take a sip, it occurs to her, you know, it said that this game was an hour and a half long. I don't know if that's accurate. It occurs to her that Elle never asked what kind of tea she wanted, but somehow she seems to have been able to choose something that almost brings a happy memory to the guest's mind. It dances just beyond reach, a tantalizing connection to her previous life, as she drinks from a china cup in the garishly pink room. This is not garish. This is... What level of pink are you looking at that determines this is garish? This is pale at best. Later in the afternoon, Elle drags out an extra chair out of the corner of the basement and arranges it by her desk. There, now we can work together. The guest takes a seat at the desk next to a row of filing cabinets. What do you want me to do? Well, if you don't mind... The archivist bends over and drags a large cardboard box out of the same corner. My sisters dropped off all these files a while ago, and they're completely disorganized. Because, of course, all the work they have to do is much more important than the filing, right? So I was hoping you could help alphabetize it all. Hopefully at least most of it will be in file folders, just not in the right order. And if you come across a loose piece of paper, it should have the name of the file that's supposed to be on top. That sound okay? Sure, I don't really have a choice. Great, thanks. Elle takes a file out of one of the cabinets and sits down at the desk with it. Next to her, the guest takes out one of the many files out of the box. On the ground, it's fairly thin, only containing a few papers. The tab on the top reads Wolf Marjorie. She can't resist sneaking a peek. After checking that the archivist seems absorbed in her own work, the guest surreptitiously slides one piece of paper out of the file. I think amnesia people still remember their ABCs. I don't know. I haven't done research on that, though. Considering the strangeness of the existence of those archives and everything surrounding them, the guest was expecting something equally abnormal in the files. But everything she feels she can get away with reading seems to be entirely mundane information. Name, date of birth, gender, marital status, and so on. Something that looks like details a dream this Marjorie person had once catches the guest's eye, but at the same time, the archivist looks up to retrieve another document from a drawer. The guest immediately begins rearranging files with vigor. Alphabetical by last name, right? Yep. So this will be near the bottom. Okay. Got it. Just going to keep organizing files. She takes two more files out of the box, Carson Deborah and Martinez Alberto, and begins an alphabetical pile on top of Wolf Marjorie. With Elle's attention diverted back to her own papers, the guest makes one more attempt to glean some information about these people whose information she's handling. And upon opening Deborah Carson's file, she notices something strange. You got a grimace, Ed? I assume you're in it right now, so I'm not going to bother talking about it. The birth date listed would put Deborah at about the guest's age, at least as far as she can remember, but the enclosed picture shows an elderly woman. Eyebrows knitted, the guest closes the file again. She slides a few more into their place in the alphabet without looking inside, fighting against an urge to ask Elle about the incongruous picture, potentially sating her curiosity, but also admitting to her transgression. Are you out of the ad now, Pyrie? As the pile on the desk grows larger, she compromises with the decision to ask one more general question. So, can I ask who these people are? Elle doesn't look up from her work, which appears to be jotting down some numbers in the file that she took out of the drawer. No one in particular. What, there's no reason why you have all these files on people? This time, Elle stops writing and gives her guest a reassuring smile. I don't mean to be secretive, sorry. I know you've been getting enough of that already. I've had the Grimace Shake. It's fine. I'm not going to give in to the marketing to talk about it, pretending to die or whatever. No thanks. It's very whatever. I mean exactly what I said. There's nothing especially significant about the people in these files. It's essentially a random sample of all currently living people. It tasted like a slightly berry-y shake. I'm going to ruin the magic. That box is, at least. And what's it for? Elle taps her pen against the chin. Call it a demographic survey. My sisters and I collect information on people, and we use the information we have to make predictions about living conditions in the future. Or something like that. Do you have a file on me in there? She wonders what might be in her own file. Details about her murky past. I mean, the fact that it's Grimace, and Grimace is weird, and who cares about Grimace, and why are we talking about Grimace, that's a big thing. A photograph of how she looks without facial injuries, probably exactly the same, except, two things gone. Or a photograph of someone else? We might. It's not unlikely. Elle turns back to her work. Too bad I wouldn't know what name to look for. The guest sighs and returns to her alphabetization. Sorry, I know it's not the most interesting work. I don't actually mind it all that much. You'd think just putting things in alphabetical order would be a bit monotonous, but I've always found it a bit quite satisfying to get things neat and organized. Help, I got the Grimace Shake, but my grimaces are dummy thick. I'll make you a nice dinner as thanks later on, right? Oh, all right. The two of them spend the rest of the afternoon working alongside each other in companionable silence, and the guest makes no further attempts to examine the files, although she isn't sure whether it's out of fear of being caught or a fear of what she might find. TikTok is usually the problem and the answer to most questions. Once the files from the boxes are organized and loaded into the Mar-a-Lago bathroom, the guest leaves the archivist to her works and heads out to the beach. She sits down and watches the water as it laps against the shoreline and then recedes back out to sea. The pattern has a relaxing effect on her, and a while later she finds herself wondering just how much time has passed. I'm thinking, there's definitely a ghost. There's a ghost somewhere here. There's definitely some ghosts. As she dusts the sand out of her she's ghost. Them's ghosts. As she dusts the sand off of her clothes and heads back to the archives, she sees their owner rushing out the door. Oh, there you are. Did you notice that I got the Hobbit edition of the Archivist House? Notice that it doesn't look even remotely the same as it did from the inside. I'm sorry it's gotten so late, and I said I'd make you dinner. You must be starving. It's okay, I was just watching the ocean. I caught a fish. I ate it raw. It's peaceful. I like to do that too. Not the fish thing, it's more you, but still, I'd hate to go back on the promise of food. I can start dinner right now if you want. The offer awakens a hunger in the guest that she hasn't felt since she arrived on the island. Them's ghost. Well, if it's not too much trouble, tell you what, I'll run to the lighthouse now and tell the sour puss up there that you're hanging out with me for the night. This looks like, if this wasn't such an old game, I mean, I don't know how old it is, but I'm assuming if I got this well before Midjourney came out, but it looks like a Midjourney art. I'm sure she won't complain about me having more time to sit around by herself. I'm sure she won't complain about having more time to sit around by herself, practicing angry faces or whatever she does. That is, if you want to stay here for the night. I just think it might not be safe walking up that hill after dark, after dinner. And I have Plenty of pillows and blankets. It'll be a sleepover. The guest weighs her options. Slamping in the cramped archives alongside this bubbly, talkative stranger, or in the cold lighthouse under the watchful eye of the other one. It doesn't take long to come to a decision. You don't think so? It looks like if I... You don't think so? Hold on. I'll get crayon going on in the background. You think... Crayon. I want you to look up... Here, let's do this right now. No, I'm not supporting you. Do a drawing. I want you to... No. Make a house... Make a hobbit house on an island. But draw it so that it is like a visual novel anime game for ladies. I'm going to... Tell me that this is not going to look exactly like what we have. The ladies can wait for 2 minutes. Because you tell me I'm full of crap. I'm not. Sure. Sleepover sounds fun. We'll let that work on the other screen. Great. Be back in a minute. She races up the hill. Why? She's running up the hill like Julie Andrews. Hair streaming behind her in the sunset. Oh, that's right. She ran up to the lighthouse. Also, are we not inviting the lighthouse keeper to dinner? What an asshole. I'm going to have your friend over for dinner. Tell me that's not pretty close. I went too far. I lost it. But that was pretty close. Once night has fallen on the archives, the guest watches as their proprietor fashions a collection of pillows and blankets into some sort of nest on the basement floor. On the floor? The room's tall bookshelves cast long, dark shadows in the limited candlelight. I'd be really fine sleeping on the couch, you know. But this is way more fun. It's like a real sleepover. Elle blows out the candles before flopping onto one of the 2 makeshift mattresses and gestures for her guests to do the same. Whoa! Elle slams her face against the wooden floorboards. There's blood everywhere. She also has a concussion now. Okay, fine. Watch our guest. I sure hope she does the exact same thing. Oh, no, never mind. She just went straight down. The guest sinks into her bed. Is this Celeste? Very Celeste-y kind of art. The guest sinks down into her bed for the night and finds it surprisingly comfortable. Elle grins as she shifts some pillows into the ideal position behind her head. Don't know why I even bothered with it. We used to do this with my sisters all the time when we were young. We would wait until we thought our parents were asleep and then sneak into each other's bedrooms to lie on the floor together, telling jokes and stories. Of course, our mother would always catch us because our giggling was so loud. She tried to teach us not to be afraid of the dark, but that wasn't the problem. We weren't scared of being alone in the dark. We just preferred to be together. How many sisters do you have? 2. I'm the middle one. Do you like my hand? I have this many fingers. That's 4. It sounds nice, having sisters you're close with. Yeah, it is. I mean, we all disagree sometimes. We're all pretty different. My older sister's really cynical, and my younger sister's much more optimistic. And I always end up somewhat mediating between them, you know? But we never stay angry at each other for long. That's good. Now that their eyes have adjusted to the darkness well enough to see Elle's face, the guest finds herself scrutinizing her features, wondering what her sisters might look like. I wish I could tell you something about myself or my family, but... Yeah, I was looking like, Those fingers are so weird looking. That's okay. You can tell me a story instead. I don't remember any stories either. Then make one up. I don't think I can make up a good one. Make up one about the lighthouse keeper. That would be fun. Oh, come on, please. Tell me a bedtime story. The guest laughs. Is this flirting? Are we flirting right now? I don't remember how to be a lesbian. So is this how flirting happens? I don't even know if I am one, but that's definitely what the game wants us to think. Okay, fine, I'll try. No guarantee of quality, though. Elle pulls her blanket up to her chin and looks at the guest expectantly. Once upon a time, there was a giant. All of the art in this visual novel looks like background character art in an anime you're not supposed to look at. Ooh. The art itself is fine. Everything else, like the characters, they're okay. Everything, also, oh my god, I didn't notice the bookcase. The perspective's a little wonk on the bookcase, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, there were two giants. They lived across the sea from each other. One of them challenged the other to a duel, so they built some rock columns into the water so they can fight on neutral territory between their homes. Sounds like, again, if we're sticking to the AI theme, I think this is a GPT story. And then, the guest sighs dejectedly. What? I don't know. I remembered that, I think, but I can't remember how it goes. I don't know if they fight or if one of them runs away. Make it up then. What would you do? If I was a giant? Yeah. If I was a giant, I guess I'd be strong enough to fight another giant. Can you tell your grandma to stop playing piano? I'm getting a little sleepy. Oh, but if I was me, I'd run away. You wouldn't at least give it a try? Fighting a giant? Or a bunch of rocks in the middle of the ocean? I'd fall off and drown if the giant hadn't crushed me already. You sound like my older sister. I think a human might have an advantage against a giant. You could dodge quickly and maybe climb up onto his back, chop off his head, dance on his throat. In theory, maybe. Someone could do that, not me, though. You never know until you try. Are you threatening to make me fight a giant? No, I don't know any giants. Not anymore, anyway. I'm going to sleep. Your jokes make me tired. It's not a joke. My aunt was a giant. I really am tired. Okay, good night. AI art looks really polished at a glance, but if you look at the details, they don't make sense. They're just goop. You're not wrong, Pyrie. That's why when they give you the yeah, like, hold on. Let's do another mid-journey. Here, let's see if I can do this. Hold on. While we listen to this music for just a second, I'll have it running. Hobbit, home, Bilbo Baggins, except it's at a beach in Nassau. It's at Daytona Beach. There's a bunch of turtles there. I know that it's not, and I know that it's not AI art because this came out well before AI art did. The guest rolls onto her back, looking up at the stone ceiling of the archives. For a moment, she imagines she can see right through it, all the way to the canopy of unfamiliar constellations above.
Enjoy your death trap, ladies.
Enjoy your death trap, ladies. I feel a lot more comfortable here than up there. There's no fire exits up there. The guest turns back to the archivist and sees that she's already half asleep. A sliver of moonlight shining through the basement's small windows illuminates her face, framed by her long hair spread out across the pillow. Good night, Elle. That night, the guest dreams of an infant visited by 3 women in long, flowing dresses. Here's the Hobbit home Bilbo Baggins, except that it's a Daytona Beach. It completely lost Daytona Beach, but tell me this one right here doesn't look just like the Archivist's home. This one looks very similar. The middle of the three women is dressed in white. She smiles as she lifts the child into her arms and looks into its round, unblinking eyes. To her left, a radiant woman in blue gazes lovingly at the child. To her right, a stern woman in green remains a step back, her face partially obscured by shadow. Totally does, Pyrie. Totally does. I may have duck eyes, but I see only the truth. As the woman in white extends her arms to offer the child back to its nervous mother, the scene fades and the guest wakes up. Whoa! The guest immediately passes out from anemia-based dizziness. She's back on the floor of the archives, where Elle had been sleeping. There is now only a disheveled pile of pillows and blankets. Shivering in the chilly basement, the guest wraps one of her own blankets around herself before ascending to the main hall. Hello, Elle? As she raises her hand to knock on the bedroom door, something catches her eye. There's a note attached to the inside of the front door in ornate, looping handwriting. Gone fishing. Back soon. Alone again. Of course. I wonder if she got locked in. She sighs and looks around. Guess I'd better try to find something interesting to do. Let's stay here for now. Is there any more books in here? Books and shit. It's a pretty nice coat. Maybe she has another one of these I can borrow. Just take that one. Anything else downstairs? Anything else we can look at? I won't risk touching that again. This is one of those fancy globes that has bumps for the mountains and things. There's a lot of files in here. Here's one for Walka Emma, born August 9th, 1989 in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. It rained the day she was born and for 3 days afterward. She will be kind to others, but too hard on herself. She will encounter many shipwreck-bound souls. She will try to help them, but will not always succeed. What is this? Maybe I should just put it back. Nope. It feels weird looking at all this personal information, if that's even what it is. Oh, never mind. I don't get a chance. Alright, I guess we're going outside. I stand corrected. That's not outside. This is the bedroom. Let's look around. We got an L here. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. A necklace with an L on it. We take the L and just wrap it around our neck. Is this because L sounds like L? Or did I just assume she called herself L when it's really L? What's this doing here? Looks like one of those wristbands they give you at big events or hospitals. Just like the bus ticket the guest found in her bedroom, most of the letters stamped onto the wristband are smudged and blurry. She does manage to parse a few details, that the patient was a 23-year-old woman born in 1988. But just like the bus ticket, a warmth soon emanates through her fingers. Deedaloo, 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 deedaloo. Oh, God. The wistful wanderer lies on her back in I cannot talk. The wistful wanderer lies on her back in a hospital bed, enclosed by unadorned off-white walls. Unfocused shadows come and go from the room as the unrelenting cycle of time casts changing patterns of light on the wanderer's haggard face. The shadows' whispers echo and layer over each other, a cacophony of fear and misunderstanding. I thought she was seeing a therapist. Why didn't that help? She was so excited about going back to university. I thought she was doing well. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Why would you do something like this? Why didn't you tell us something was wrong? Oh God. What did we do wrong? I never thought this was serious. How could I have known? Did I fail her? How can we help if you don't tell us what's wrong? Can't you at least try to explain it? Why won't she talk to anyone? Why does this have something to do with that friend of hers? How hard can her life even be? She can't stay here forever. What do we do? Can anyone do? Why don't you go stay with Aunt Mary for a while? It's nice and relaxing out in the country where she lives. It'll be good for you. I have an inkling of where this is going. I'm home! You looking through my stuff? As her surroundings swim back into focus, the guest hears Elle's voice ringing out from the hall and opens the bedroom door to greet her. Elle poses triumphantly in the doorway, a bright pink fishing rod in one hand and 2 fresh fish in the other. Wow, really went fishing. What, thought I was lying? This seems like a surprisingly normal thing to do in this place. Elle shrugs. For me, this place is normal. Come on, let's go cook them on the beach. Elle escorts her guests to a small fire pit in the sand. They make themselves comfortable on makeshift driftwood seats, half buried by years of erosion. As Elle struggles with a packet of matches, the guest looks over out at the dock. No boat. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Huh? Ah, there we go. The archivist grins as the fire begins to spread from the kindling. She tosses 2 fish onto the grill. You don't have a boat. Elle turns her gaze into the direction of the guests. Oh, well, seems I don't. What do you mean? It comes and goes. I have a boat when I need it, and I don't need it right now. All right. Oh God, her face. Makes total sense. The guest slumps down as much as she can in her unconventional chair. Hey, you doing okay? Yeah, I guess so. Okay as I can be, I guess. I did sleep pretty well, I mean. Better than the 2 nights before, anyway. So, thanks for that. No problem. Having a sleepover was fun. My back blazes like the dickens. The floor is not a good sleeping place. Yeah. Think you'll head back to the lighthouse tonight? I don't know. If you want me to, I won't keep bothering you here. But being there was frightening sometimes, and when it was less frightening, it was just awkward. I know you said that she cares about me, and there's some mysterious things that she can't explain to me, but I can't talk to her. She barely says anything. She's so cold and aloof. And do you know she locked me in the lighthouse one morning? I mean, she says it was an accident, of course. Just like she says it was an accident that my boat crashed into the island, where it's her job to make sure that it doesn't happen. That was my fault. What? Elle's sudden declaration startles the guest out of her tirade. It was my fault you crashed. I'm so sorry. I asked her to help me in the archives. I had some heavy boxes full of books and files, and I hurt my shoulder a while ago, so I asked her to help me move down the stairs. She said yes without even thinking about it, because honestly, that's the kind of person she is. She cares so much about helping other people, even if it doesn't feel that way to you. But it took longer than we thought it would, and you must know how that sunset comes early here. It always is earlier than you think, especially if you let yourself get distracted. When she realized it was dark out already, she sprinted up the hill to the lighthouse, faster than I've ever seen her move, and this was in the middle of the thunderstorm. I mean, she was so worried. I was so worried that she would slip and fall in the mud, but she was too late. By the time she'd made it up to the light, you'd already crashed. The guest looks on in confusion as the archivist tells her tale, even while smoke from the fire in between them obscures the archivist's expression and irritates the guest's sensitive eyes. I was the one who found you first. I carried you up the stairs of the lighthouse. You were so cold. She had come running back down from the tower, too, once she had made sure the light was working, and between ragged breaths, she asked if you were okay. I put you down the bed and asked her if you wanted me to stay and keep an eye on her, and she said it was fine. She said I needed to rest because my shoulder must be in pain from carrying you. Elle, I need to tell you about show, don't tell. Elle, don't tell. She said that she could take care of you herself, and that's what she did. All night, she would check the light upstairs, then check on you downstairs, and then do the same thing again. I'm really sorry. It's my fault you're here. I'm the one you should be angry with, not her. Her story finished, the archivist turns her attention back to the fish on the fire. The guest sits unmoving, in deep contemplation. She breathes in the smoke and the scent of the fish, somehow unlike anything she's ever smelled in before. She thinks about the days she spent on this strange island, first with the close-lipped but apparently courageous keeper, and then with the affectionate, potentially absent-minded archivist. She looks at the other woman on the other side of the campfire, tending to the fish she caught herself for the two of them. I'm not angry with you. It's not your fault. I'm not angry with her either, but I don't know if I'm ready to go back there just yet. Is that okay? The archivist smiles on the other side of the smoke. Of course. We have things to do after lunch anyway. You wanted to find a book to read, right? I'll help you with that. Okay. But first, I think the fish are ready. Let's head back and eat inside. I want to eat like a bear with my two bare hands. The two women leave the beach, the ashes of the fire behind them, and the afternoon of pleasant conversation ahead. A while later, Elle leads the guest down into the basement. Looking more closely at the bookshelves than she did the previous day, the guest notices how chaotic they are, with many books lying on top of one another or sticking out haphazardly. So, I swear they were organized alphabetically by author's last name once, but then I kept getting new books, and sometimes there was no space left where they would go alphabetically, so I just had to stick them wherever. You know how it is. And then, one time I moved all of the shelves out from the wall so I could clean from the years of dust behind them. That was gross. And then I put them back in the wrong order by mistake. By the time I noticed that one section of the alphabet was in totally the wrong place, I didn't want to move them all again. So maybe you should just tell me what kind of books you like, and I'll see if I can remember anything good. You probably don't stand much of a chance of finding what you're looking for by yourself. Well, that would be easier if I can remember what kind of books I liked. I guess maybe mystery. If they pull out the... I have a vague recollection of reading a bunch of Sherlock Holmes when I was a kid, maybe. Mystery it is. Let's see. What do I have? Elle peruses the shelves, a look of intense concentration on her face. What about... No... I'm not all that picky. You could probably just grab something decent and I'll give it a try. Not like there's much to do else on this island. No, you said you like mysteries, so I'm finding you a mystery. I want you to have a good time here. Aha! She pauses in front of a shelf towards the far corner. Here's the beginning of the alphabet, and here it is. Is it A Study in Scarlet? If it's A. Without warning, she tosses a weathered paperback to the guest, who fumbles but manages to catch it. The moon... Why the hell is the moon... whatever. The Moonstone. Wilkie Collins, 1868. One of the first detective novels that established a lot of the conventions of the genre. And up here is... This time the guest anticipates the flying book and catches it more deftly. Surfacing. Margaret Atwood, 1972. So you've got a nice time range of periods there. This one's about a woman searching for her missing father. Oh, and if you want one more to consider... Elle returns to her search for a few minutes while the guest skims the back of the two books she has already. There we go. Careful, this one's a hardcover. Ow! The guest manages to keep up her perfect record of catching the books, but not before this one strikes her in the stomach. The English Patient. Michael Ondaatje, 1992. Also, not really a whodunit or anything, but there's plenty of mystery and intrigue. Any of those should be a good read. But hey, if it turns out you were totally wrong and mystery isn't your taste after all, just let me know. You may have noticed I have a ton of books. Thanks. Do you know which one you'd like to try first? I don't care. The English Patient I've heard was good. I think I'll try the English Patient. Oh, that one's got some spicy bits. Hope you're not shy about that. Elle hands the guest her chosen novel with a big smile. If you want to start reading now, feel free to relax on the couch in my room, or enjoy the nice weather while it's still light out. I have some work to do down here, but I'll come up and talk to you later. Alright, thanks. Feel free to yell if you need anything. The guest nods before ascending the stairs onto the archive, book held firmly in hand. Where's the webpage for this book? This webpage for this story, I mean. Where's the lighthouse? What did it say? Take approximately an hour and 15 minutes. There we go. Should be good to go. Visual novel where the characters play a visual novel in which the main character reads Moby Dick. I would play more visual novels that were just like old stories, like Romeo and Juliet visual novel. Later, as the first hints of the island's early sunset streak across the sky, a knock at the archive's door startles its 2 inhabitants out of their reading. We've just reached hour 2, so hour and 15 minutes, my ass. Come in, we're in the bedroom. The front door swings open, followed by that of the bedroom. The keeper shuffles in, looking down at her bedraggled boots. Evening. Hi, honey. I'll be right back. I was just about to take care of something downstairs. Talk amongst yourselves. The keeper chuckles. Must be something very important and definitely pre-planned. Definitely. The keeper remained standing near the doorway, a wide distance between her and the guest on the couch. What are you reading? The English Patient. It's about a nurse taking care of a burn victim during World War II. Do you like it? Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's been nice to have something to do to pass the time other than just wandering around, wondering what's going on here. Yeah. Sorry about that. Must be hard for you. Yeah, it is. It really was an accident the other day when you were locked in. Sorry it scared you. Thanks. The keeper moves farther into the room and takes a seat on Elle's bed. I'm getting really close to you now. Did you have fun here? Yeah, Elle's really nice. We had a sleepover in the archive. Did she make you sleep on the floor? Look at this bed. Just pats the bed. This bed's so nice. Sleepovers can use beds. I don't get it. And we cooked fish, fresh fish, for lunch today. The keeper nods. She is an astonishingly kind and cheerful person. She's very bright and energetic. I don't know how she does it all the time. And she says that her younger sister is even more of an optimist. I find that hard to imagine. Oh, that's actually true. Chloe's level of positivity is almost absurd. You've met both of her sisters? The keeper nods. Known them all a long time. Because I'm a ghost. Well, not that long by their standard of time. What do you mean? How old are they? Not sure exactly. Much, much older than anyone lives on Earth. What, we just doing this now? I thought we were still in mystery. We're gonna break the magic barrier. We're gonna break that magic hymen. Okay. Much older than anyone lives on Earth. Really? I guess that makes sense. How? You're not too surprised? Just one more in a long line of strange things that have happened to me over the last few days. I think I've gotten used to it. The keeper reacts with a look of sadness and sympathy. I think everyone is a Dracula. We are all Draculas. Sorry. That, you have to get used to that. That, you have to get used to that. To the way that things are here. Sorry. That you have to get used to that. To the way things are here. No one should have to. It's okay. You've apologized a lot already. The keeper shifts slightly, leaning closer to the guest. If you want to come back to the lighthouse tonight, if you're comfortable, there's a lot of good food for dinner. Oh, yeah? How good? I did have some pretty delicious fish for lunch today. We cooked it on the beach. We didn't even use salt. Well, maybe it won't quite live up to your elevated standards now that you've spent time with the real chef on the island. I got some Chef Boyardee burning on the wood stove back home. You should have it. You should come. Later. If you know what I mean. As the guest looks into the keeper's earnest, apologetic eyes, Elle skips back into the room. I should probably save it before the game crashes. Because I'm telling you now, I'm not coming back. Hello! I'm done with the thing I was doing. Did I hear you mentioning going back up to the lighthouse for dinner? Sounds like a great idea. I hear there's good food. Don't worry about me. I have things to do. So many things. The guest laughs. Okay, Elle. I'll head out now then. Thanks for letting me stay with you. It was a lot of fun. No problem. Thanks for all your help with the filing. I'll come visit you soon. Bye. Enjoy your dinner, you two. The lighthouse keeper and her reinstated guest slip out the door of the archives and ascend the hill to the lighthouse as the sun sets in the south behind them. Magic sunset. Dinner turns out to be pancakes with maple syrup. The guest is surprised at the departure from standard dinner fare, but she can't deny that the keeper's promise was accurate. The pancakes were delicious. Is this what you normally have for dinner? No, just felt like it'd be a nice change. It is nice. Thank you. You're welcome. In spite of their recent reconciliation, the guest and the keeper consume most of the meal in silence, interrupted only by the scrape of cutlery against plates. Immediately after swallowing her last bite, the keeper rises from the table. Better check on the oil levels. That's a way to say you're going to the bathroom. At the guest interjection, the keeper turns back. Her cold gaze almost discourages the guest from asking the questions on the tip of her tongue, but then she summons her strength and resolves to give it a try. Those visitors I've been seeing here, you know about all those? The visions I've been seeing here. That's normal here? The keeper nods slowly and warily. I won't ask why I've been seeing them or how it even works, but I just want to know, am I right that they're the memories of the people of this island? Can you confirm that at least? The keeper takes a deep breath before speaking. Shut up. Yeah. The guest nods as if understanding, even though this answer has simply raised more questions that she'd rather not consider. She shivers. The keeper remains still and silent on the bottom stair, her eyes fixed on her nervous companion. The guest steels herself to seek just one more answer, the one she finds least frightening. The woman on the balcony and in the garden. Is that you? The balcony? There was a party. She was upset. A man came out to comfort her. And then the garden. Edwin. For a moment, the guest thinks she catches a glimpse of an expression she's never seen before on the keeper's face. Some kind of nostalgia mixed with melancholy and regret. Yeah. My name was Rose. Rose. The oil. She whirls around and rushes up the stairs to the light. Grasping the edge of the table, the guest lowers herself back into her seat. She closes her eyes and struggles to endure the throbbing pain in her head that began when she stood up to address the keeper, and grew in intensity with each question she asked of her recalcitrant roommate. Rose. The guest dreams of Rose that night, not as she knows her now, but as she saw her in visions of the past. She stands on the south beach of the island in a storm not unlike the one that brought the guest here, her long hair soaked through the rain, but still blowing in the wind. It's hard to tell with the rain already running down her face, but she might be crying as she watches a small boat recede into the distance. Descending aggressively down the stairs in the morning, the guest finds her host looking as different from how she did in the dream as possible. Her short hair is neatly tucked behind her ears, and she smiles peacefully while sipping a cup of tea. Morning. Want some tea? Sure, thanks. After opening several cupboards in search of a mug, the guest pours herself a drink from an unadorned porcelain teapot in the counter. What kind is this? I noticed you have a lot of different flavors. Blueberry ginseng. Elle says ginseng is really good for you. Elle does seem to be a tea expert. An overpowering blueberry smell makes the guest momentarily worry that the tea will be too sweet, but upon her first sip, she discovers a much milder taste than she was expecting. It simply tastes warm and comforting. Across the table, Rose takes another sip of her own tea and sighs contentedly. She looks so much more intimidating than usual that the guest wonders if this might be a good opportunity to ask another question. Rose, I was wondering if I could ask you a bit more about those visions I saw. Like, what did Edwin mean? No. She slams her mug down on the table. No, I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. If you're bored enough to try to make conversation with me, there's better ways to pass the time. Rose takes a deep breath. There might be some board games in the cellar. We could play with Elle if you want. Oh, that sounds nice. I'll show you how to get down there after you've finished your tea. The keeper, her face returning to a placid face of neutrality, lifts her mug back to her lips. Just 2 dunks of a tea bag, that's it. The guest looks on and it'll get cold, you know. That's one rule that does still apply here. Right. Where is here? Can you just answer that? Why has the duck stopped speaking? Hello? Duck? 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 Thanks. Hi. Hello. I'm back. Under the keeper's scrutinizing gaze. Later, Rose leads the guest around the back of the lighthouse, where a rusty metal door is embedded in the ground. The guest momentarily wonders how they'll move such a heavy barrier, but Rose deftly hoists it open with a creak. As heard. Beneath the hatch, stone steps extend into the darkness. The guest peers down warily. Are you scared? No. I'll go first and light the lantern. She disappears down the stairs, and shortly after, a warm, flickering glow welcomes her guest down. The room is much cozier than the exterior would suggest, although it lacks anywhere to sit, cluttered as it is with years of unnecessary objects. As her host rummages through a cupboard below the stairs, the guest scans the shelves ahead of her for anything eye-catching. I'm gonna look through more of your stuff. Hey, this looks like a board game. The Mansion of Happiness. It's covered in dust. How long has it been since you played a board game? Very long time. I don't even know if that one's mine. There have been other lighthouse keepers. Well, I don't see any other ones down here, so let's give this one a try. Well, that was easy. The guest examines her surroundings as she emerges from the cellar, dusty game box in hand. Hour and 15 minutes, my ass. Huh. You alright? Yeah, it's just... That was easier than I thought, I guess. Told you that place wasn't scary. No, that's not it. I thought... She strains to remember what was going through her mind before she descended down the stone steps. Hadn't she expected something in particular to happen? What was it? Never mind. Let's go inside and take a look at the game. Later that day, the 3 players arranged themselves in the game board on the floor at the lighthouse guest room. I know they're looking for the tomboy look, and she's definitely a ghost, but God, such a different art style. Tom Sawyer and the 2 lovely Victorian ladies on the right. Chosen as the optimal spot to play because of the lack of the 3rd chair in the kitchen. The keeper fidgets with the game piece while the guest reads the rules. So, it says each of us need 10 counters. Looks like they're the currency. That must be what these little paper squares in here are for. Elle enthusiastically dumps the bits of paper out of the box onto the floor and begins dividing them equally. Oh, and an extra counter with the initial of his or her name or any other letter or number judged most proper for distinction. It's when you die how you look. So she's had a lot of eyeliner at one point. Good thing I always have a pen on me. She withdraws a thin black... Or here's your answer, Glorp. She withdraws a thin black pen from her pocket and marks one of the paper squares with a large, flourishing letter L before passing the pen to Rose. Rose knits her eyebrows for a moment, then takes a deep breath and scrawls a blocky capital R on the paper in front of her. She thrusts the pen towards the paper, who simply stares at it, the rule sheet clutched in her both hands. She places the rule sheet down and takes the pen gingerly. I'm not sure what to write. Just write, I don't care. Write a dick butt. Who cares? Oh, right. That's a bummer. Well, it does say any letter or number judged, so it could be anything. What do you judge the most appropriate letter or number for her, Rose? She beams as she addresses her friend by name. How about 3? Because she's the third person to write something down. It's not very creative. Think of something better then. It's okay, I can just be number 3. The guest brings her pen towards the paper, but Elle grabs her wrist to stop her. No, I'll come up with something good. Oh, I've got it. You can be G. G? Because you're our guest here. That works, right? Sure. The guest smiles and writes down the letter. I still think 3 would have been fine. Well, she's G now, so how do we play? The guest scans the rule sheet. We spin something called a tum? This. Rose holds up a spinning top with numbers around the edges. And then we just move according to the number we get, I guess. And the rules have some more specific things to go with the squares we land on, too. Then we can figure it out as we go along. Why don't you go first, Rose? Sure. She sets the thing spinning on the floor. It lands on a 2, and she moves the counter with the letter R to the corresponding piece on the board. It says, Pi tie. Ha! What do I do with that? I think that's piety, Rose. The guest consults the rules. Whoever possesses piety, you get to move 6 more spaces, I think? Rose complies and slides her counter forward to a blank space marked with the letter 8. Nice. I'll go next. She spins the thing with vigor, and it careens across the floor, forcing her to get up to retrieve it. I got a 3. Oh, nothing on the square for 3. Boring. She slides her counter on the blank space with a dramatic sigh and then passes the thing to the guest. This time it stays in one place, but seems to spin for longer than it did with the others. The guest watches, feeling slightly dizzy as it wobbles and slows, before eventually landing with the number 6 on top. She slides the counter, labeled with a letter in lieu of a missing name, along the board. The water. She peers at the rule sheet in search of the instructions, the words swimming in her unfocused eyes. Whoever comes to the water, number 6, must pay 1 for being ferried over and go to number 10. Oh. It's one of the 10 counters we got, I guess. She drops one of the black counters into the box it came from. I think I've played this game before. And as the guest reaches for the piece of paper that represents her once again, her fingers brush against the illustration of a boat on the board. She springs back, willing the warmth spreading through her hand to dissipate and let her enjoy this afternoon, but her vision is already fading. Weedaloo, 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 weedaloo. The distressed debutante and the brooding bachelor lie sprawled on a familiar beach, waves lapping at their feet and raindrops caressing their faces. The debutante's eyelids flutter open first. She struggles to her knees and examines her surroundings before shaking the bachelor's shoulder. Edwin, are you all right? Huh? He rolls over to face his friend. Does this game not have any sound? It doesn't have any audio. Do you not hear the music? Rose. Oh, thank heavens. Rose, where are we? Edwin stands and turns in a circle, surveying the rocky shore. Rose gets to her feet as well, brushing the sand off of her dress. I don't know. seems I've forgotten. I feel as if I've forgotten a great deal of things. So do I. A bit troubling, isn't it? He smiles despite his circumstances. A bit, but I feel rather content, really. You're all right, and we're here together on this lovely beach. I don't even mind the rain much. I think I see a lighthouse up on that cliff. I'm sure the lighthouse keeper can help us if we find our way up there. Oh, a lighthouse. I've always wanted to go to a lighthouse. Yes, I remember that about you, I think. I could turn the music up a little bit if you want. Edwin sets off in search of a way up the cliff, and Rose falls into step beside him, a grin on her face. Do you? What else do you remember about me? I remember that you're a loving, lovely, caring person. Is that so? And what else? That you enjoy mystery novels and going for long walks, and that you're my... You're what? He stopped still upon noticing the stone stairs leading up the cliff. Well, you're my best friend, aren't you? Come along. Looks like we can come up this way. Hello? Why is the duck continually moving? Is it hearing... Duck? Why are you continually talking? Here. There you go. Had some problems tonight. It's like, we didn't expect to play this game this long. The stream's breaking. Hello? Anyone in there? Got a bit caught in the rain out here. For lack of an answer, the bachelor heaves the door open and ushers the debutante inside. Hello? Anyone? We don't mean to intrude. Rose squints up the stairs, looking for any signs of inhabitants. It's awfully dark in here, isn't it, Edwin? Yes, come to think of it, I didn't see the light on from the beach either. Seems strange on a dark and rainy day like this. Perhaps it's abandoned. Her voice betrays enthusiasm at the prospect. What will we do then? Tired from the walk up, he sits down and rests his arms in a layer of dust on the small kitchen table. His friend joins him, eyes aglow. Do we have anything? Do we have to do anything? We can stay here. Stay here in an old abandoned lighthouse of uncertain location? Well, why not? Seems safer than setting out on our own when we don't even know where we are. Besides, someone needs to keep the lighthouse running for the ships. We can figure out how to do that. I think I read some works on some books on the workings of lighthouses once. I have a general idea of how to do it. So we spontaneously become lighthouse keepers. And what about whenever who's supposed to be in charge of this place arrives? Then they help us get back to wherever we came from, I suppose. We don't need to worry about that right now. Let's explore the rest of the lighthouse. She leaps up and tugs at his arm. Well, all right. I do somehow have the sense that I wanted to escape from something. I don't feel much in a hurry to get back home and find out what. I feel the same way. This place seems safe somehow. Safer than what I'm used to. Even though I don't remember what I'm used to. Isn't that strange? Everything is strange at the moment. But I can't say that bothers me at all. Then let's go. Giggling, the debutante drags the bachelor up the stairs as the rain drizzles outside the lighthouse. So, they just decided to live here. They didn't make any other efforts to get off the island. I told you. I can't turn that up. It's really mumbly. Edwin doesn't want to be here. Hold on, I can turn it up. Oh, nope, that was it. We didn't get all the song. Rose? Rose. The scene shifts to find the debutante at the top of the lighthouse, looking out as the storm whips the sea into a furor. She keeps her eyes fixed on the waves as the bachelor clambers up the ladder. Rose! Did I say Rose Butsy? Rose, do you see that boat that's come ashore? Looks like there's 2 men on it. Yes, they're coming up the stairs from the beach now. Her voice is dreamy and distant. Well, shall we go down to greet them? They must be the help we've been waiting for. No. I don't like the look of them. What do you mean you don't like the look of them? I don't feel like we can afford to be picky in our situation, stranded here on a... Rose whirls around to face him. Stranded? I thought you liked it here. Liked it? I admit it's not the worst place one can be marooned, but I thought we were happy here. Didn't we both agree that we had some sense of having not to escape something before? And now that we're here, we're safe. Rose, We can't stay here forever, Rose. We must have a home to go back to, even if we don't remember it. And this place is strange. Unnatural somehow. Look at that rain out there. Some sort of weird sleet shit. And it's like 94 degrees outside. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it too. I don't know what you mean. Rose's voice trembles and she turns back to the window. Time doesn't move like it's supposed to. The days seem shorter than they should be. Sunset always comes so early. Maybe it's winter. And there's also the... He pauses, searching for the right words. The visions. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. Sometimes an object will catch my eye, something that I haven't seen before, that doesn't belong where it is, and when I touch it... Jesus fucking goddamn. So loud. I hate this game. It's so loud. The sound is so terrible. A thunderous pounding on the door reverberates through the lighthouse. Edwin is startled, but soon recovers his composure and turns back towards the staircase, a look of feigned neutrality on his face. Shall I go let them in, then? No! In a sudden movement, Rose flings herself onto the trapdoor, blocking his exit. Don't go. Just ignore them. They'll... Another, extremely loud, urgent knock interrupts her, but she shouts over it. They'll go away eventually, and then we'll be free. Free to live here, to be happy, together. Edwin shakes his head. Live? Rose, in the last of these visions, I saw the 2 of us in my old office together. We were each composing one of 2 separate, similar letters to our families. They both started the same way. By the time you read this, I'll be... No, I don't. You're not. It's not real. It's just... I don't think we're free to live anywhere, Rose. Here. He opens his arms for an embrace. When Rose turns away, he circles to her other side and grabs holds of her shoulder. She relents, leaning her head against her friend's chest. The knocking at the door ceases for a moment, and the only sound she can hear is the rain beating against the glass of the lighthouse. I I don't remember very much about you, Rose, but I remember you used to say you liked to feel my heartbeats. Weedaloo, 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 weedaloo. What's going on up at the left? The guest's eyes snap open. She finds herself lying on the cold, hard floor of her bedroom, but it's dark now, and all traces of the board game are gone. Hello? Elle? Rose? The more her eyes adjust to the darkness, the more everything about the room seems unfamiliar. What are... Oh. I remember these clothes. They're my clothes. That's right. I've been wearing Rose's clothes all along, haven't I? I'm a little worried about touching this again, but what else can I do? There must be something I'm supposed to find here. This is different than before, somehow. I remember it used to be more smudged, so I couldn't see the information. Now there's a name. Mara Murphy. I don't like that name. I don't look any better than I did last time. It's like my wounds aren't healing. Why aren't they healing? Food crates are here, but they're all empty. They are very much not empty. They are very clearly not empty. Don't gaslight me, video game. Rose's tea canisters are all here, but it looks like someone's ripped up the labels and stuck them back together to spell different words. I think this used to be blueberry, raspberry, ginseng, and sleepy time. Now it says blood, remember, giants, and suicide. Huh? Sounded like something falling on the table. What is this? Some kind of coin? Looks like a face. Is that the door? Guest opens the door and for a moment sees a different cliff outside. Not the one that the lighthouse should be on, but the one that looks familiar all the same. Then the doorknob burns the palm of her hand, and another scene of that cliff materializes. The wistful wanderer and the tender-hearted tourist stand on a trail at the top of the cliff, clutching their jackets against the cold wind. A few other small groups of tourists mill about behind them, on their way up or down the path. Great view, huh? Yeah, it's nice. That was a funny story the bus driver told about the giants. Which version of the ending do you like better? The one where Fionn wins the fight, or the one where his wife disguises him as a baby? I think the baby one's pretty funny. Yeah, me too. The wanderer stares vacantly out at the horizon. The tourist looks over the wanderer's shoulder, but fails to figure out what's caught her attention. You know, there's actually a pub where I used to live called Fionn's McCool's. I always just thought that was a funny name. I never knew that it came from that legend. Yeah? Yeah, it's a pretty good pub. The wind whips through the two women's hair, and the wanderer's gaze never shifts from that fixed point where she sees something the tourist cannot. Alright. Well, I'm gonna head down to the bottom and see those columns. Are you coming? You go ahead. I'll be there in a bit. Okay. I'll see you there then, okay? The tourist takes one more look at the wanderer and heads back down the trail, but she can't think of anything to say. Don't jump off the cliff! Her eyes still focused on the sky, the wanderer approaches the edge of the cliff. A single raindrop falls into the sea. I think she jumped off the cliff. When the guest opens her eyes again, she's lying in her bed in the lighthouse, its keeper looking over her. Rose? She struggles against a weakness that seems to have permeated her body, but manages to sit up. What happened? Can you walk? I think so. Then come upstairs. I need to keep an eye on the light. but there are some things I can explain to you now. The guest shakily gets to her feet. And suddenly, they're already there, looking out the lighthouse vast windows at a brilliant sunset. What? How did we... Things are getting blurred here, even more so than usual. The passage of time, the line between dreams and reality, everything. That happens here, more and more as our time runs out. What do you mean? Rose fixes her eyes on the guest. What's your name? Can you tell me that? The guest finds herself nodding. It's Mira, isn't it? I don't know why I didn't figure that out before. It seems so obvious now. That's another of this place's idiosyncrasies. Finding things out can be difficult. It's nice to finally meet you properly, Mara. A hint of a smile grazes the keeper's lips before she turns back to the window. Thank you. Ask me any questions you have. Now that we both have names, it should be easier for me to explain. What is this place? Why am I here? Well, Rose takes a moment to collect her thoughts. It's a place between life and death. I'm sure you figured that part out already. It's not the only one, of course. I only work here, so my knowledge of the rest of them is limited. But my understanding, there are many islands just like this one, and there are also many other waypoints that are entirely different. Depends more on anything else on what exactly brings you out of the world of the living and into this one. Mara knits her eyebrows. Is it suicide? Is that what brings people to islands like these? That and other deaths that are somehow self-destructive, I think. If the light goes out, the boats that carry their souls crash, and they end up here. And if it doesn't? Rose shrugs. They live on, I suppose. Maybe they recover from their problems and die some other way instead and end up somewhere else. I've never known very much. I'm only one lighthouse keeper. What happened to you and Edwin? Where is he now, and how did you end up staying here without him? Rose sighs and looks down at her work boots. How much do you already know about when we were alive and what brought us here? Mara chooses her words carefully, keeping an eye on Rose's dispirited expression. Well, in the first vision I saw, I think he just said he didn't want to marry you. Because he was gay, right? What do you mean? He liked men? Oh, yeah. Is that what you call it now? Mara nods. I had been dishonest with him. He thought that I was like him, that we were both gay. Well, I thought I was too, before I met him. I'd only ever been attracted to women my whole life. But I loved him too. He thought that it would be a good idea for us to get married in order to keep up appearances for the rest of society, while truly having a platonic relationship and enjoying each other's company as friends. For a long time, I let him believe that I wanted that too, but I didn't. If he'd been less perceptive, we could have ended up in a terrible marriage. Me constantly holding out hope that he'd one day magically want me the way I wanted him, and him under the exact pressure he'd hoped our relationship would help him escape. I was a terrible friend to him, and that wasn't even the worst of it. See, there was a war. I know, and he didn't want to fight. He was so opposed to violence in all forms. He had so much love for humanity. Rose trailed off. Mara catched a glimpse of the light reflecting off her tears in her eyes before the sun dips lower and plunges her face into shadow. Wow, Jesus. Could you turn that off while we're talking? He thought that death was the only way to escape, and I let him die. I died with him, instead of helping him face that future. You can't blame yourself for that. If I had been stronger, maybe I could have saved him. I could have. You weren't weak. You were suffering. I don't blame you. Rose responds with a shrug and a sad smile. Anyway, after we ended up here, without most of our memories, like you, at first. Then, when it was time for him to leave, people in charge asked me to stay. They needed a new lighthouse keeper. They said I was right for the job somehow, but I don't know if that's true. Maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. What's gonna happen to me now? Mira's voice cracks as she asks the most frightening of her questions. I'm sorry. That's the one question I still can't really answer. I've never been further than this lighthouse. I know that most souls move on to somewhere else. I truly hope that it's somewhere good, but I can't make any promises. As confused and disoriented as she still feels, Mira struggles to think of any more questions to ask. There's nothing she can put into words that would abate her gnawing anguish. They're almost here. Rose gestures towards the window, while most of the boats on the water were barely visible in the distance and poised to curve around the island. One swift, small shape cuts the straight line through the waves as it approaches the beach. I'm sorry, Mira. It's my fault you're here. I failed in my duties as a lighthouse keeper. I let someone die. Again. You didn't let me die. No one did. I died of an illness. It's what depression is. It wasn't anyone's fault. But if the light had been on that night, maybe you could have felt better that day. Maybe you could have gone home and talked to someone who could help. What? So the light controls my life and my emotions? Are you saying I don't have free will? I don't know. Never really understood it. I imagine only the people in charge do. Well, if we're going with the no free will hypothesis, then maybe neither of us could have done anything. Maybe I was always destined to be here. Ever since I played to the moon, Gorp. What a sad fate. As the dark vessel outside draws closer, Rose takes a deep breath. She adopts the rigid posture and stoic expression that characterized Mira's first expression of her, just one short, strange week ago. You should go out to meet them. Mira turns away from the window and examines the woman next to her. They'll be in a bad mood if you make them come up here and knock on the door, and you'll only be postponing the inevitable. The woman who may have been in some way indirectly responsible for her death. The woman whose standoffish nature exacerbated the fear and confusion she felt when she first arrived. Apologies for the pain and inconvenience this lighthouse has cost you. If you call the number on the back of your receipt, you will get a free member... Feel free. The woman whom she now knows was dealing with her own pain and fear. The woman who made pancakes for her, and albeit briefly, sat next to her and enjoyed a board game. The woman who, under different circumstances, she might have been able to call a friend. Goodbye. But they're not friends. They're just simply a reluctant host and guest, forced together by unfortunate circumstances outside their control. And this opportunity to escape, even if it only brings more uncertainty and confusion, brings an end to their tumultuous acquaintance. With trembling hands, the guest descends the lighthouse ladder for the last time. Who the Who are you? Is this God? Two men stand on the slick, rain-soaked rocks outside the lighthouse. The ferryman leans on a tall wooden stick, the rain pounding against the patches of his skin, his tattered clothing leaves exposed. The messenger beside him, sheltered from the storm by a thick cloak and wide-brimmed hat, fixes the guest with a speculative stare. Will you be coming with us, after all? The guest takes a shaky step toward them. Jesus! I hate this game. She flinches, and so do I, as the heavy wooden door slams shut behind her. Do I have a choice? The messenger observes the closed door for a moment before returning his ghostly gaze to the guest. It appears not. Can you pay? The ferryman's voice comes out as a hoarse whisper, barely audible against the unrelenting rain. The guest's hand slides unbidden into her pocket and emerges with a single silver coin. The messenger nods in recognition. Shall we then? The silver coin clutched in the sailor's hand, he beckons and descends without a word. The woman stumbles, struggling to stand, her head in searing pain, her vision blurred. With shaky steps, she makes her head toward the sailor standing ready at the prow. She dares not to dream of trying not to board. There's nowhere to escape to anyhow. And as they sail with rough and jerking pace, she turns one final time to see the light that fails to bring to mind the keeper's face before the crawling fog swallows the sight. Oh, there goes the lighthouse. And there we leave our hapless guest for now, unless you think it could be changed somehow. The Light at the End of the Ocean. Writing and programming, Jane Titer. Character art, Dahlia Wilder. Background art, Choo Choo J. What is... I refuse to believe that there was this many people involved in this. There's supposedly like multiple endings, but how? In what way could there possibly be multiple endings? I did like 3 choices in the game. Like, what is... First of all, what's an... hints? Oh. We got close enough. Alright, well, I did not expect that, so, I think that's just about enough for one evening. I didn't expect to play a terrible visual novel for the entire evening, but here we are. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go get a snack. Thank you all for hanging out. You all had a great time. We did a lot of terrible things. Until next time, though, you all have a lovely evening. Probably won't be here tomorrow. I'll see you all later, though. Goodbye.
Thanks for your time. Have a good day.